Hi, welcome to this video from the School of Music Technique. Today we're going to talk about differences between the three drum machines from Roland, the TR-8, the TR-09, and the TR-08. So I'm Luc Lafontaine, and I'm also known as Nutrix online. So let's go through these devices together and explain what they are and what they can do. Before going closer to them, I'm going to start by explaining the main differences and the main logic behind these devices. If we go by time when they were released, the TR-8 was the first one to be released in 2015, and it was basically the first comeback to the mythical Roland TR-808 and 909 and 606 and 707 and all these machines that we know and love in electronic music. Now, if you don't know the 808 and the 909, these machines really marked the music industry, and the fact that there were devices that were used for so many records that there really is a classic vintage sound to these devices, and many people want them still today, even if they're old devices that sometimes break up. And it's sometimes hard to get your hands on them because they cost a lot and they're old. So gradually they're breaking up. So Roland came out in 2015 with the whole series of new devices in the Era series of devices. And one of them is the TR-8 drum machine called the Rhythm Performer. And this one basically is a beatbox. It does everything that the drum machine should do. It has all the sounds that you expect from it, but it can load different sounds, and that's really cool because it was made to recreate the sound of an 808 and a 909 originally. Then they offered an expansion, and when you bought the expansion, what you had is new sounds from the series of 707 and 727 TRs and the TR-606. So plenty of sounds, plus with the expansion, you also got modified version of the original sounds, meaning in the original 808 and 909, people would open them and modify them so you get a longer decay for the kick to get that sound out of it. So basically, you can load the kick drum from the original sound or the kick drum modified version. Same thing for the snare. You can either load the original snare or a modified version of the snare. Same thing for the congas and the toms. So there's a lot of really cool sound in it. Now, if we compare it to these others, the TR-08 and the 09, the main difference, if you talk about sound, is that they only have one kick. They only have one kit. Meaning that the 08 only have the sound of the 808 and the 09 only have the sounds of the 909, whereas this one can play 808, 909, 727, 707, 606, okay? So that's the main difference for sound. The other thing about this TR-8 is the fact that the panel itself is really useful. It's big, it's wide, you've got knobs for almost everything you want. You've got easily, you can switch between a section of the machine, and you've got visual feedback from it. I mean, when you go into instrument, you see the information at the bottom. If I click bass drum, different colors mean different kits of drum that can load in. If you go into kit, now it's blue. Blue is only for kit. You go into instrument and play, no light because that's where you play them live. If you go into record, that's because now you're going to record in real time what you're doing. You know, so every one of these sections, when you move between them, there's a lot of information right away that shows in the panel itself. Like for say, these green lights here, if you mute an instrument, let's go into instrument play, if I mute it, it goes dark. So visually, you know, even if you get out of this window, go somewhere else, you know that these sounds do not play anymore. They're muted, you know. So it's really easy, visual, and for a live performance, this is cool because even in low light, you see what's happening. So really cool for that. Let's go back here. The other approach is that for each of these sounds, you've got a lot of controls, well, enough of them at least. You've got a little bit more on the bass drum and the snare. Same thing for these two. You've got attack for the kick, decay for the kick, tuning, and compressor, and volume. So these are the controls for the kick. For the snare, you've got snappy, gives you that little, you know, snappy sound. You got decay, tuning, and a compressor and volume. And for all the others, you've got tuning, decay, and volume, and that's it. tuning, decay, volume. Now you don't see pan here, but pan is available when you press on a key, press here, and then you turn the knob. So there's also panning for each of them. But then you need to go a couple of switches at the same time. So that's for the sound. If you look at the other devices, you basically have the same thing, you know. You've got level, level, level for each of them. You've got tuning, and some of them you've got snappy, let's say here, you got decay. So it seems when you look at these panels that you've got you got less control over them. Where you say, well, here I've got tuning, decay, and volume and pan for all of the sound. You've got the same thing here. The only difference is that it's not always on the panel itself. In the 08 and the 09, the goal was to recreate as much as possible the original 808 or 909. So they gave you control over what the original gave you, but they still can do all the thing that the 8 does, meaning that for, let's say, end clap, well, the end clap has level, decay, and tuning inside the sub-menu. So you need to go menu, turn the knob and find these, and then you can modify them. So it's possible to do it, but then it means that you cannot do it live because you don't have a control over it. But you could do it through MIDI. So it's possible to record it in a sequencer, send it back in MIDI, and have these things modified if you want to. So that's the first thing, the sounds. Second thing is that on this TR, the big one, the TR-8, you also have a section for reverb, delay, external in, and effect for the scatter. So these things here do not exist in the other ones. You know, I said earlier we had compressor here. It's an effect, but it exists in TR-8 and the 08 and the 09. You also have compressor in them for the kick and the snare. But they don't have reverb, delay, and external in on these other ones. Now, reverb, really cool, sounds really nice. There's a bunch of them you can select from. You get delay, really nice fluid movement of the delay, really nice also. And what's cool about them is you can actually trigger them on specific notes only. So you could say, I want to have reverb just on the snare, nothing else. I want to have the delay just on the hi-hat and just on 5 and on 7, and that's it. So really aim to program the effect in the rhythm of the song. So really cool. External in, you get any sound in the back here, and these can be sidechain. So what they call sidechain for them is you can actually kind of gate it. Either you open or close the gate, and you can control how long the gate will react. So there's like 8 different type of gating for this. And it means that any sound that comes in can be open on time or closed on time with the rhythm of the song. So you can actually modify something that comes in and that very, you can have a drone that is very static that comes in, and you could use that to have some rhythm in the song. Or you can even send another sound into it and add it to the kick. So you could double the sound of the kick by another sound that would be another bass that will be on one note and only appear at the same time as the kick is playing. So really interesting for that. And the scatter is more like a modification of time, kind of a weird delay that you can trigger. So I won't go into too much detail of explaining all of these functions because Roland has a lot of videos on their YouTube channel that explain all of this. So it's really cool. I really want to take the time to do to talk about the differences between them. Now, if we look at the back, what we have here is MIDI in and out. Okay, classic stuff. We got phone. So you put your headphones here if you need to. We've got the mix out, which is basically the main mix coming out of here. And you've got a signable out A and B. So you can assign any sound to A or B. If you assign it to A or B, it does not appear in the mix anymore. So it's really you want to separate these sounds, so you want to process them in some type of effect outside. So maybe you want to have a stereo mix of everything, and then you want to have a kick and snare separate, or maybe you want to kick because you want to use something with it, and the hi-hat maybe in the other one will go through delay or EQ or whatever you want. So it is all about how you want to use this, or yes, maybe you want to use one of the sound to use as a trigger. So maybe you send it to B, and B you use as a trigger to trigger another device. So, but when you do that, you lose that sound in your mix because then you would use the B as a trigger out. So that sound would stop being played in your mix. And you've got external in. I talked about this a little bit earlier. So external in, you can send sounds into that and be processed by the rhythm of the beat itself. Note also that there is a power supply here, no battery, so it works with a wall wart only. And you have USB. Now, USB will be for MIDI and audio back and forth, so you can send sound from this device to the computer. Even what's coming into the external in can be recorded in the computer using that USB connection. And also the MIDI will come in and out of it. So one cable to your computer is enough to program the whole song if you want. What's interesting though is when you connect this to the computer, what you have is one separate input for each sound plus the external in plus the master out. So you've got like 14 inputs coming to the computer, something like that. So it's really interesting. What's also fun is that you've got the mix out and you've got separate tracks. So meaning you have the reverb and the delay in the mix out, and all the other sounds are the straight sound, like direct outs of these without any effects. So if you still want to process them in your mix in the computer, you could, and they would be reverb and delay free. So it's possible to then do more editing on them in the computer. Right now it's connected into the mixer, the Roland Mixer MX1, so it's only stereo into this, because that's all I want to use for now. So that's for the hardware part of this thing. If we think about how to use to program, as I told earlier, really nice to move around this device. It's really made for live performance. If I go into pattern select, I've got 16 memories of patterns that I can play, and that's the limit, 16 patterns. And there is no song mode. You cannot link them together to make a whole song. The only thing that is close to a song mode is you can actually say, I want to play from 1 to 8, and we'll play 1, we'll play A and B, and then 2, A and B, 3, A and B, and so on. When you get to the end, we'll loop again. So with this in mind, you can build a song with this, but it is not like saying I want to play pattern 1 for 6 times and then switch to pattern 2 for 1, and then it's not the same thing as building a song, but it's the closest you can get with the TR-8. So it was made for live performance. It was not made to be a sole device as a song maker, if you want to. Okay, so that's for the 8 for now. The TR-09 was the second to be released. This one was released after the Era was a hit, and Roland had a bunch of Era devices. And you seen, well, 1 year after that, they came out with the Boutique series. In the early version of the Boutique series, you found only synthesizers. And as it was a success, Roland came out with drum machines. So TR-09 as a drum machine, and later on the TR-08 as a drum machine. Now the TR-09, of course, aimed to represent the sounds of the 909 and the aspect of the 909. So it basically looks the same, have the same type of control, again, limited to the original control that you would have on the 909, but you still have internally access to all the same decay, tuning, and volume and panning for each of these sounds in the menu. So it takes a little bit more time. You go to the menu, but it's possible. What's interesting, if you talk about the differences between two, the sound is not exactly the same. I think it's always difficult to get these things to sound exactly the same because there's a lot of knobs to play with to get exactly the same sound. I think you could get them, but it's really close in sound. Roland says that for the 09 and the 08, they actually worked on getting the algorithm even better and closer to the 909 and 808. Oh, okay, fine, good. So it doesn't sound exactly the same. What's cool about the 09 and the 08 is the fact that it's portable. You can work with battery and work anywhere you want. The other fun fact is that outside of having patterns, you can also have songs. They call them tracks. So here you get 4 tracks, and this one you've got 8 tracks. So each track, actually 12 tracks on the 08. So 4 tracks, so 4 songs, and each of them can have many patterns. Now you've got 96 memories of patterns in this one. You have 16 in this one. So this is not for memory patterns. This is one for performance in real time, where this one is made to be program and playback later on. That's why you've got more memories and more songs into this one. No effects outside of the compressor for these two, but no delay, no reverb whatsoever. If you look at the back, what do we have here? Well, we have the MIDI, like we're expecting, in and out. We have mix in. Now, mix in is not like external in on the TR. You cannot modify, edit, or pattern base, whatever you want with the mix in. It's only a way to use two boutique or another instrument and only use, mix it out, mix in internally, so the output combines what's coming into the mix and the output of the 09 in this case. The 08 exactly has the same thing. Mix in is just you can kind of cascade two devices into one output if you want. The output is meant to be sent to a mixer and the phone for headphones, of course. Now these are all 1/8 of an inch. Not cool. It's good, it works, but at one point if you plug that often, I don't know, it's not known to be very long-term solid connectors for these 08, so 1/8 of an inch. So I would have preferred to have better outputs on these things. Volume and then the USB. Now notice one thing, there is no power supply connectors anywhere here, so there is no way to connect a wall wart to this like the normal device that Roland would sell you. Now the whole series of boutique, the whole series of boutiques, they all have only the USB to bring power outside of working with batteries, okay? So the USB will provide power. You can even just connect right into a charger for iPhone or Android, and using just that cable, power your Roland devices. On top of that, if you connect that to the computer, it will also bring power and will bring audio in and out, well, out of this into the computers to record it, and MIDI will be brought in and out using the single cable. Now, in the case of the Roland TR-09, you get 4 USB connection plus the audio out, and inside it you can actually select where each sound will come out. They could be in parallel between USB and the analog outputs, or they could be split between them. So you could say, basically it means you can have 6 outputs with this device, 2 analog and 4 through the USB cable, and then it means that in the computer you would have 4 of them and 2 would be from the audio output. That's for the connectivity of this thing. One thing that is cool in the TR-09 and the 08 is the fact that you've got a trigger out. So you don't need to lose one of the sound to access the trigger out and then use it to trigger another sequencer. So that is a cool thing that they thought of adding to this one and the 08. The TR-08 is probably the nicest looking one of the 3. That one is a good looking piece of hardware. Of course, the original 808 also was a good looking piece of hardware. The colors, the coding, even the graphic on the labeling, just to see that, oh, this yellow goes with this yellow, the red goes with the red. It tells you what these knobs, when you move them, they're related to. So, example, all these switches changes a reason to exist depending on the mode you're in. If you're in that mode at the top there, then it's going to be the gray. If it's the other mode that is play, then it's going to be another part. So depending on where you are in these controllers here, it will change the way it works. Now, the way you enter patterns in the TR-08 is different than the 09 and the TR-8. Because originally when the TR-08 came out, the 808 came out, the original one, it was in the early days of drum machines, so they had a specific way of selecting the sound with this knob. You would turn and then place, actually you would play them in real time and it would get recorded, and you can modify and edit them. Same thing here, actually in the 909, when the original 909 came out, that knob disappeared, and it was just select the sound and play them. So the 909 kind of gave what is still used today as the way to select and program patterns in a drum machine. So the 08, when you get to it the first time, it takes a little time to understand it doesn't work exactly the way we're expecting new ones or modern drum machine to work. So it just takes the time to, because they really wanted to mimic the original one. You can also switch the mode and have this work the way the 09 works. So there's a menu in there you can change. Again, you've got compressor on the kick and the snare, no effect. You've got a lot of the sounds here. Some of them have two possible sounds, hand claps or maracas, rim shot or claves, congas or toms. Well, congas or toms, what's cool about it is you can actually say conga and then you only hear it. But if you use MIDI, you can trigger at the same time conga and tom. So then using MIDI and another sequencer, you have more control over the sound. You have control of more sounds. And all of these parameters can be, and same thing here and same thing over here, all the parameters can be recorded in real time and playback after through the sequencer. So that also answers one of my thing that I wish I had in these devices is the fact that I would like to be able to record a performance in real time, to be able to press record and record, I don't know, the tuning of the kick or the tuning of the hi-hat and stuff like that. So it's not possible to record that in the pattern of these devices, but it would be possible to do if you actually use a sequencer, because you could record these in the sequencer and then it would trigger the real-time control over that. One thing that the 08 and 09 doesn't have is the fact that the 08 and 09 cannot record a kit. What I'm saying is that it would be interesting to be able to save where the knobs are. To say, okay, my bass drum is at full decay or half decay, my tone is this here, and I want to record that kind of the status of these value of the sound values in memory. So then when I load back my song, I would have exactly the same sounds. It's not possible. It's always real time what you see here. So basically it means that you're going to take a picture of that panel when you say it sounds good this way. Take a picture, write it down, because next time you want to load that song and you want the song to sound the same, you need to go back and tweak it again, which in the TR-08 doesn't really happen. I mean, it can happen, but you can save the kit, and the kit will save where it is, long or short decay. So that's going to be a little bit an add-on for the TR-08. So same thing with the 09. 09, you can actually not record or save the status of the knobs. It's all real time, what you see here. If you look at it, they're really cool devices. They sound good. Well, I'm going to play them and we're going to compare how they sound. We'll see they really sound really, really close. And then it's just a question of which one you want. These two are more for studio. This one is more for live performance, of course. 3 devices from Roland, 3 TRs, 8, 08, 09. They're different in the fact that they're not for the same purpose. The 08 and 09 really are aimed to mimic the original ones, the 808 and 909, whereas the TR-8 is really made for live performance and gives you the sound of the original. So this is really for live performance. There's no song, so I prefer this one because there's a lot of things you can do with it. There's effects, there's input, so it's a really powerful one. The other two are really cool. I would say somebody wants to work more in studio with these, and you need to really love one of the sound, meaning this is only 808 sound, this is only 909 sound, this is, well, 808, 909, 606, 707. So that's why I still love this one more than the other two. But honestly, the 08 I like a lot. Just the fact that you can actually use battery and put your headphones and work anywhere, go in, in front of TV and play music while you watch TV, whatever you want. For this is really a fun thing, and there's a song mode that you don't have here. So these two are more for, studio work and creation. This one is more for live, so depending on what you want. If you like these type of videos, tell us about it. Write in the comments. If you have a question about this gear, write to us. If you want us to test other piece of gear, write us. We'll be more than happy to answer these and make new videos about these questions. If you like what we're doing, follow us on our YouTube channel, follow us on our Facebook channel, and well, we also have Twitter and Instagram, all that stuff. Just follow that. And of course, if you want to know more about the School of Music Technique, go on musictechnique.com and you'll learn more about what we're doing every day here at the school. That's it. See you next time.